Hello everyone, my name is Joshua Egan and I'm the creator of the National Education Data Mapmaker. This is the first video in a three-part series to teach you how to make maps with your data on US schools or school districts. This first video will cover how to prepare your data to upload it to this application. The first thing to check your data for is whether it is the right file type. Data comes in many different forms, and the forms supported by this app are Excel data files with the extension .xlsx, comma-separated value files with the extension .csv, Stata data files with the extension .dta, or SAS data files with the extension .sasbdat7. One important thing to note is that Excel data files with the extension .x, like the one I've clicked on, are not supported. Other types of data, such as R data files or SPSS data files, will have to be converted to one of the correct formats before uploading. Next, you'll need to make sure that you have a valid column to identify schools or districts. This allows the mapper to link your data to information about the locations of schools or school districts. First, let's talk about identifiers for school district data. You have two options of identifiers to use for mapping school districts, and they are as follows. You can use the 7-digit NCES assigned ID number or a state education agency's assigned identifier for school districts. Since there might be repeated ID numbers across states for the second identifier, it must begin with the state's two-letter abbreviation followed by a dash. For an example, a Missouri school district with the identifier 123456 would need to take the value MO-123456. For the application to know which column is the correct identifier, it must be named correctly. If you're using the NCES district ID number, the column must be called NCES_district_identifier, which is case sensitive, so the D in district, the I in identifier, and the NCES at the beginning must all be capitalized. If you're using a state education agency's identifier, it must be called internal_district_identifier, which is also case sensitive, so the I in internal, the D in district, and the I in identifier must all be capitalized. Now, let's talk about identifiers for schools. You have two options of identifiers for schools. The 12-digit NCES assigned school identifier, or two variables. One of them is the internal use district identifier. The other is the internal use school identifier. If you choose the internal identifiers, the internal district identifier should be configured the same as if you were using it to map school districts, with the two-letter state abbreviation and dash preceding each code. This variable will still be named internal_district_identifier, which is still case sensitive, and the internal school identifier must be called internal_school_identifier. If you choose to use the NCES school identifier, this variable must be called NCES_identifier. There are only two more major things to keep in mind while preparing your data to upload. First, make sure that there are no duplicates in your data. This just means that there cannot be more than one district in your data if you're mapping districts, and there cannot be more than one school in your data if you're mapping schools. To show you an example of what it looks like when this goes wrong, I'll upload some data with this problem. As you can see, you're provided with an error message that prompts you to upload a new file that does not have multiple rows per district. Lastly, be sure to upload your data for only one state at a time, or a few states at a time. The app will work, albeit slowly, if you upload data for 2 or 3 states at a time, but anything more than this will cause prohibitively slow load times, or even the entire app to crash. If you've worked through each of these issues, your data is now ready to upload. Click on the Browse button in the Import Your Data section of this app, navigate to your file, and click Open. If your file upload was successful, you'll see a preview of the data you uploaded. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.